Hey there, it is Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Radcliffe.
There she is. We found her.
Hey.
She's playing
She's at the ball
baseball.
game. We
Yeah.
should have known she was at the ball game.
Playing baseball on a day like this. Kristin Weber with us. And I saw this video, which I mentioned this to Kristin a little while ago. And it was a video, the last show we did, which was months and months and months ago. I said, hey, we need to get her back on the show to see what's going on.
Well, we found her. She's at the ballpark.
Still at the ballpark. I think this was my background last time too. So I haven't moved since.
It's a great place to be.
It is. Yeah.
Hey, we wanted to catch up with you. You said about being busy. We'll talk about that in a few and maybe talk a little bit about how the book's doing. But the Christmas time, are you going to be spending it with your mom and dad? What's going on with you guys? And what do you usually do? Are there traditions that you guys have to do? I mean, do you get up on Christmas morning playing Oh Holy Night on the accordion, or what is it that you do?
Well, we're all going to Texas.
As well, you should.
Yes, exactly. Which is the land of freedom.
Yes, it is.
And for now, until all of California moves there apparently and flips it. But we don't have a ton of traditions. We kind of we just wing it every year. We'll go to a Christmas Eve service, but I have an accordion at my parents' house. I kind of have them like strategically stashed around the United States. So I have an accordion there. So maybe I will actually play some carols on it this year. I should wake everybody in the house up.
Yes.
Nothing says good morning, it's Christmas quite like an accordion.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's Christmas wish will for me to fall into a hole. Will be for me to fall into a hole. But yeah, so we'll be in Texas, and then because I grew up outside of Dallas, so I'll make the rounds to go see friends and catch up, and then I'll be there a little over a week and back to Atlanta to hit the ground running in 2020.
Hey, would you head to my mom's house for a little bit and tell her I said hi and sorry we couldn't be there?
Sure, absolutely. Do you have a song request for me to break the news a little easier?
Maybe Grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay.
Or roll out the barrel.
Dan got run over by a reindeer, and that's what
there you go. That's why he's not here in Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if I remember, is it? Let me see if I can remember the name of that place. Is it like Flowery Mound or?
Very good. Flower Mound.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
It is, yeah.
So that's where you're going.
Yeah, burgeoning suburb of Flower Mound.
Actually, it probably is. I mean, last time I was there, it was growing quite a bit. So
it has grown a lot. Every time I go, there's new buildings and some traffic is worse. And so
that's because everybody's moving to Texas from California and places like that.
Exactly. So. Yeah, everyone's fleeing to Texas. And yeah.
Well, let's keep this in the Kristin vein, the Christmas vein, and talk about
Kristin vein. I was like, as we should keep about me.
So, what is the best? What are you asking for this year? I mean, when you make a list
and check it twice,
do you have like a list of 10, or do you just say, "Hey, all I need is socks this year"? I mean, what's your thing?
So it was funny. We were emailing as a family. We always start like a group email, and basically we're all just going to trade Amazon gift cards.
That's funny. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm like, let's just keep our money, buy something we want, and be like, this is what I bought from you guys for me.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because my mom was like, "Well, what does everybody want?" I'm like, "Everybody wants Amazon gift cards." And I said, "What do you want?" She said, "An Amazon gift card." Like, why are we even bothering then? So
yeah. But I got a really good gift from Delta actually to buy anything I want. I got paid for the first time in my life. I was flying somewhere and didn't have really anywhere to be. And I was coming back from Michigan last weekend, and there had been snowstorms, which kind of delayed a lot of stuff. So they came on the plane and they were like, we need 4 volunteers because our plane is overweight. And I was like, how are you just now is it on a They were like, oh no. So
was it when I got on? I mean,
I was like, at what point did we figure this out? But they said that the plane was overweight. They needed 4 volunteers to take like a light cash voucher to take later flights. And I was like, I've never done this before, but I could use that extra cash. And so I volunteered. And then when it was only then that they were like, oh, hey, you're not going to fly out of this airport. We're going to get a guy named Jim to drive you guys to the Detroit airport all the way across the state. We were like, oh, good, Jim, yay. And so some Delta employee or contracted by Delta, I still don't know the story. It was a nice car though. Drove us. We drove 4.5, what should have been a 22-minute plane ride. We drove 4.5 hours across the state of Michigan, half of it in a pretty big snowstorm, to get to Detroit to take later flights out. And so they were like, you'll get an email with your link to redeem your voucher. And I never got the email. And so a few days later, they're like, you should receive it by the end of the day. If not, call this number. So I called the number and they're like, we have no record of this happening. And I was like, no. I was like, my voucher. So I kept getting the runaround. Like nobody knew what to do. They just kept giving me other numbers. Some of them were disconnected. And so finally I was like, I don't want to do this. But I went on Twitter and I posted a public tweet. I was like, hey, Delta, I was promised vouchers and nobody knows how to access them. And immediately somebody got to me and they figured it out. Yeah, the email just never got sent, I guess. They found it and resent it and we're all good. But so, yeah.
Thank you, Twitter.
I know. I've seen people like go to Twitter and complain about things. And I always wonder, like, why do you not do that? Like send them a private message. And I was like, oh, the public pressure.
Yeah.
But they got it figured out. They were great.
It sounds like what they used to say. The check is in the mail.
Yeah.
But you got to ride with Jim for 4 hours. So
he was quiet. It was good. And the two other volunteers, one guy was like, I'm just going to fly out tomorrow. He's like, I'm not driving to Detroit. He lived there. And so the two other volunteers, we just, I don't know, all did work and kept to ourselves and made it to the Detroit airport.
That's what I was going to ask. I mean, that long drive, I mean, it's strangers and you're outgoing, but what do you talk about?
Oh, I put on my headphones and watched Netflix.
Okay.
Because the car had,
we didn't talk to anybody.
We all kept to ourselves. Yeah, we treated it just like an airplane, and we put on our headphones and we ignored each other.
I mean, at least it was a nice car. At least it wasn't Jim's, 1980 Datsun B210.
Yeah, and the lady, the Delta employee, she was like, "Are you guys okay in a Yukon?" And I was like, "I couldn't even tell you what a Yukon is, but it sounded like a nice car, and it was big. It was like a big Suburban."
Nice.
And so, yeah.
That's a funny story. You've got to work that somehow into to a routine somewhere.
I'm sure it'll make it in. And I like to think a lady at the show I had been at in Michigan, she had said, I don't know if she blessed or was prophetic or cursed the scenario, but she was like, I just wish you could have seen more of Michigan. It's a great state. And then I ended up seeing all of Michigan because I drove across it. Yeah.
In the snow, even.
In the snow, yeah. Which the snow is pretty. It's a little scary when you're driving in it, which I never had to drive in it. Fortunately, I just got picked up and chauffeured by people who knew how to drive in snow, but it's a little intimidating.
I mean, especially being from Texas, we don't know how to drive in snow. I mean, we're not made to drive in snow, so yeah.
No, it's because when the temperature drops below 50 and there's a cloud within 30 miles, everything
we shut everything down.
Yeah.
That's funny. Kristin Weber with us. KristinWeberOnline.com to check out all her stuff. Hopefully, she'll do a show near us in 2022. We'll get into that in a second. All right, the best and worst gift you've ever gotten for Christmas. You don't have to mention any names. Best and worst.
No, we want you to mention names. Publicly shame that person.
The best gift. Gosh, now that I'm on the spot, I'm like, I've never been given anything before. I can't remember anything I've ever been given. My sister, actually, you know what? I'm wearing a pretty good gift. I don't know if you can see. My sister a few years ago gave me these overalls that are made out of sweatpants material.
Nice.
And they're so comfortable and they're so untrendy that they almost like by default become kind of trendy. Like I would never wear that. You're like, but it kind of works because no one would ever wear it. That was a pretty good gift. I like random things like that. And then the worst gift I've ever received. I I'm trying to think.
Or
I
if you
used to get some random things when I used to teach. I would get some things that I'm pretty sure like people like came to their lessons straight from a white elephant. And
yeah.
like
Here, just give her this.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a Rudolph made of popsicle sticks. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that your 3-year-old made this in preschool and you just didn't want it because you have 14 others.
Yeah.
So you would get some random things and then you have to be like, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Even though you know that they were like, this will just get rid of this.
Yeah. That's funny.
Now I've got an idea. You mentioned those overalls that you're wearing. What about that's great merch for you? We could call them Weberalls.
Ooh.
And you could sell them on your table, your merch table.
I like the way you think.
And somehow put your design on it or your face or your something on there. And so people know that they've experienced a Kristin Weber show.
I have a better idea, actually. Now that since we're going to turn this into a merchandising think tank, I should get those like onesie pajamas with like on the backside with the flap that gets
yes,
and put an accordion on there.
Oh yes, I love it. Every time you squat down, it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, you can order yours now, KristinWeberOnline.com. Do it for Christmas. Those you know and love would love a pair of those. What would you call those? I mean, those would be,
squeezies. I don't know. Instead of a onesie, the squeezie. I don't know. I have to think on that. I'm bad at coming up with names for products.
Well, who needs a name when you've got a product like that, though? I mean,
I think it'll just sell itself.
It would.
You just put a picture up.
It would. And operators are standing by. KristinWeberOnline.com.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about now. Are you done with shows for the rest of the year, or do you have a Christmas show? And then let's move into 2022. What's up for you?
I have one more show this weekend in Tennessee, but it's just I'm doing warm-up comedy for the Huckabee show, so I don't know if it'll be Christmas themed or not. But
it's just the Huckabee show, nothing big.
No big deal. Then I've done several Christmas things. Like I've been to a lot of women's Christmas events with my accordion. We've made the rounds. And then 2022, January is very empty. And then February, things kind of pick up. So January, I might try to find some shows locally so people who are
You
local.
should do that because we need to see you in person.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So, and then February things kind of pick up, but it's weird how things have kind of changed. Like I used to book out 6 months to a year in advance. You'd start getting emails and it's like a couple of months people are planning. So I don't know if that is just the new normal or if that was just because nobody knew what was going to happen 2 or 3 months down the road. So they just wouldn't, there's one book. So.
Yeah. And speaking of book, how is the book the book sale going?
Good, I think. The response has been good. Nobody's sent me any nasty emails about it yet, which I appreciate. And
how could they? I mean, tell us the title of the book again.
Oh, it's Adulting for Jesus. It's a book about
purpose,
trusting God. Yeah, purpose, trusting God, and obviously burritos.
And burritos, yes. I mean, who wouldn't want a book that has obviously burritos?
I know. I really think that food metaphors have been underused by Christian living authors.
Yes.
Definitely.
Especially burrito metaphors.
Yeah, of course.
Be great for
analogy that we've missed.
Great for somebody's stocking for Christmas. So
yes,
order now. Operators are standing by. Kristin Weber online.
Right.
.com.
And get some accordion pajamas while you're at it. So.
Exactly. Yes. And read the book in the accordion pajamas while eating a burrito.
Now we seem to have I don't know how this even happened. A lot of our comedic friends are opening up, doing the warm up for Huckabee. Are you guys on are you like in the queue? I mean, it's Kristin always does the every other month, or how's that work for you guys? Or do they just call you out of the blue? How's that work?
Yeah, I think they just have kind of a pool of us and they try to rotate us through. And since it's a long drive, I always drive up. So I just do it once or twice a year. And the rest of them I think are pretty much Nashville based comics because that's where they tape. So I'll go up and usually I'll try to piggyback another couple of events on. And then this year it's just the one. I wasn't able to add anything just with how things worked out. So yeah, I'll go up there, stay with a friend of mine that I haven't seen in a while, tell some jokes, eat some tasty food in Nashville. It's so when people are like, oh my gosh, what is it like to be a traveling comedian? You're like, it is so anticlimactic. Whatever your expectations are, just like put those expectations in a Target or a 7-Eleven because that's most you fit inside like every Walmart across America.
I don't know, Kristin, riding in the car with Jim for 4 hours, that is glamour right there.
It really was. Yeah, the epitome of it. So
I'm surprised we haven't seen that all over the Facebook and Insta where he's taking selfies with, hey, look who's in my car. And then there, bam. I mean, it's almost like right?
I guess maybe the masks because with the travel you have to, so my mask protects my anonymity and also my general anonymity protects my anonymity.
You didn't break out the accordion. If you had done that, that would have given it away.
Yeah.
Although I will say, if we're talking about like being recognized in like random things, so I got a message on Facebook from somebody who, because I did Babylon Bee back in July, and then that posted a video podcast that they did. So somebody emailed through Facebook, and she was like, "Hey, my friend watched this video," and he was like, "Oh, she said she lives in Atlanta. Do you know her?" So she happened to come to my jiu-jitsu gym and had like rolled with me a few months prior. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, I do know her." It was the most random, like, how would you recognize somebody? So it was just one of those, like, out of however many hundreds of thousands or millions of people live in Atlanta. She was like, "Oh, I actually do happen to know her."
I rolled around on the mat with her as a matter.
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
We talked to those guys. I can't recall his name right off the top of my head.
Was it Matt that we? Matt was his name?
Oh, Ethan or Kyle or
Kyle. It was Kyle, I think, that we talked to. Yeah.
It was I mean, we had fun. It was a great
yeah, he was fun.
Great interview.
Yeah, they're very quick on their feet. They're funny guys. So obviously in the right line of work. So
yeah. Very sarcastic, very funny. Yes, I love it. Yeah.
So you've got shows coming up in 2022. What else you have coming up?
My Dry Bar special should release in 2022. I don't know when. I'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah.
But that was a fun experience and should be exciting to have that out in the webverse. Interverse. I don't know.
How was the crowd for that? Was it a good crowd?
First crowd was probably one of the best crowds that I've ever had. Just a lot of fun. And then the second crowd was like, do we not? They were just hard to warm up in general. Everybody kind of had a tough time cracking them. They got there, like we warmed up, but they were like, prove that you're funny. So
I guess that's how it is, right? I mean, you get a fantastic audience and your first show and you're going, man, I would go, all right, I'm going to crush it in number 2. And then it's almost like crickets. And it's like, oh my God, what's going on here?
Yeah, it was, I'm glad the first show went so well because they got all the footage that they needed. So they even said that they were like, it looks great. It sounded great. So they were like, you can pretty much do whatever you want the second show because we'll probably most likely use this one. And so it kind of gave me a little bit of freedom to do what needed to be done, which was kind of interact with the crowd a little bit more. Like it just, and later crowds often seem to be that way too. It was a 9 o'clock or a 9:30 show. Like they're just a little more tired, I guess, or I don't know what it is, but it's just generally, in my experience, which is not that much, but some, like the later crowds tend to be the harder ones too, for my style of comedy. Some
Well, especially at a dry bar where they haven't been drinking and they're
right, exactly. They have a cup of M&Ms instead of a cup of whatever else they would be drinking otherwise.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe they thought they were going to get served and they were upset that they didn't get served.
Hey, if they came to a show called Dry Bar and they thought they were going to drink, that is on them. Like, they are upfront with who they are. They do not lie about it.
Good point. Good point.
Hey, let us in whenever you find out when it's going to be released. We'll push it, and we'll watch it, but we'll also push it. So
yes,
definitely.
Okay.
All right. We got to take a break. Merry Christmas. Thanks for hanging with us. KristinWeberOnline.com. Don't forget to buy those onesies with the accordion in the seat.
Yep.
Guaranteed to make every holiday trip exciting. And maybe we'll get Jim on the show next time.
Yeah.
Jim the driver.
Yes.
So let's take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Radcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.